Understand me? The result that you are talking about, we are just giving. APC, Nyesom Wike, deliberately ceded Gwagunada to PDP to give impression that there was a contest. There was no contest. The election was rigged even before that day. Understand? Mind you, many months ago, Nyesom Wike said that Tinubu told him, make sure you don't win all. Remain some for me. You Google it, you see it. Nyesom Wike said that, talking about FCT election, said that Tinubu told him, make sure you don't win all. Remain some for me. Understand me? So now what happened? To give impression that there was competition, they have to give 5 to themselves and 1 to PDP, and the PDP candidates will soon defect to APC. So that is what FEDA called government magic. Understand? RNG results. So there was no election in Abuja. Understand me? On the issue, if you had watched what happened, Nyesom Wike was moving from one unit to the other, as if he was appointed the supervisor of the election. Nyesom Wike behaved as if he was that INEC appointed him the supervisor of the election. Understand? Now, what happens in every election? Even if you are the governor of a state, you go from your house to the to your own polling booth, vote and go home. You are not supposed to be parading even your own community. But Nyesom Wike was traversing the whole councils in Abuja, shaking hands with people and so forth. That's number one. Number two, in most of the areas that APC feel that they don't have a strong support, INEC deliberately come late in those areas. INEC deliberately come late in the where they were on ground in some polling units 8:30, in those areas they were there 11:30, 12. Understand me? So for me, what happened in Abuja is a show of shame. It is a show of shame. It is not democracy. It is not a democracy, and Nigerians shouldn't be deceived that APC and PDP are quarreling. That is being stage managed to give impression that that something happened. That PDP council chairman, they deliberately ceded that into him to give impression that there was contest. There was no contest in Abuja.
Wow.
In Abuja polls.
But some persons who actually would contest the statement that you made that there were no elections. Why we understand that the elections were marred with some irregularities, which we saw. But you saying that there was no contest at all.
The election was rigged before that day.
Okay, what are the specific things you would say that marred the elections on Saturday?
I've given you
some of them.
I've given you so many. Another one, before the election, Nyesom Wike said that he will not allow anybody who doesn't support Tinubu to win. I hope you heard it. What does that mean to you? How can you interpret it that he will not allow anybody, which means winning and losing is in his hand, not in the hand of the voters, that he will not allow anybody who does not support Tinubu to win. So that statement alone will tell you that going out to vote is just wasting your time. Going out to vote is just wasting your time. He did not only say that, he was on the field to ensure that that thing worked. Understand me? He was in the field to ensure that thing worked by going from polling unit to the other. Understand? To make sure that everything is going according to the way he wants it.
Okay, you're not talking about what you said. Would you say that that was the major reason for low voters turnout? Because we know that what characterized that election was low voters turnout, one of the irregularities that we had.
That was because of Nyesom Wike's statement.
But should Nigerians allow a statement by an individual, make them stay back in their homes and not come out to exercise their fundamental right?
One, council election is different from a national election. So that's why, and even if it's a council election that's in the states, understand, worst performing governors, their party still wins all the local government elections in their states. So the same thing with Abuja. Understand me? So the emperor of Abuja, understand, who is in control of both INEC and the security agencies, made sure that his party won all this thing. So for me, there was no election in Abuja on Saturday.
But are you not disappointed that the ADC didn't even get to have one of the councils?
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you.
So I know you're a fan of the ADC.
I'm a fan of Nigerian people. I'm a fan of the Nigerian people. That's what I'm telling you, that the result, this is an RNG election. This is an RNG. And Wike told you this many months ago, that Tinubu told him, don't win all, remain some for me. Imagine that's election. You are telling somebody, don't win all, remain some for me. Tinubu now says, okay, I'll give you the bulk of it. And he now gave APC 5 and kept 1 for PDP. So they are deceiving themselves. And not many Nigerians, their thoughts are higher than what Nyesom Wike is doing in Abuja.
Let's look at INEC. How would you rate INEC's?
0.
You didn't even allow me to ask you that.
I say 0.
So there's no thumbs up for them in any
What did they do? What did they do? I told you that they deliberately, where they feel that the other parties are strong, they came late to those areas. I have been a member and an election observing group. I know these techniques. I know these tactics. I know these techniques. I know these tactics. Understand me? So nobody should give INEC thumb up. Understand? They showed that they have been captured the same way the judiciary has been captured, the security agencies has been captured. Understand me? INEC showed that they have been captured the same way the judiciary has been captured, the same way the security agencies has been captured. We have seen a policeman snatching ballot boxes for APC. Policemen. Understand me? So, for me, there's no hope for this country.
Wow, why you say there's no hope
there's
for
no
this
hope
country?
for this country.
Dr. Peter, that sounds
there's no hope
very,
for this country.
Those are very strong words.
There's no hope for this country.
So are you saying there's no hope for this country?
There's no hope
and
for
in
this
2027, you are hoping that the opposition would unseat the incumbent. So with this election that has happened, do you actually see the opposition unseating the incumbent?
I've told you that council election is different from national election.
Because of the interest of people in it?
One, council election, that is happening at a particular state, understand me, or at a particular geopolitical zone. So all interest is focused there. Understand me? Just like the last Anambra State governorship election, where they say that they sent 35,000 policemen, understand me, to Anambra. You cannot do that in a national election. Understand me? Okay. Because all the nation is happening in the whole country the same day. So you cannot even send one policeman from one state to the other. So council election is different from a national.
So you're saying because they canceled the election, there were more, as in like, they had more things that could make them actually win the election.
That was why Wike did what he did. Assuming it's a national election, he couldn't have crossed from Rivers State to Abia State. Understand me? So this is a different election.
Okay. Well, one of the things that Wike said, he said, okay, we have our guest, our virtual guest. Dr. Peter, I'll come back to you. We have our virtual guest, and let's get to hear his view about the FCT elections and on Saturday in Abuja. Glad to have you join us, Clem. If you can hear me, please unmute your device. Okay, he'll probably get to join us later on. Dr. Anosike, I was actually going to say that I'm sure you heard about what Wike said. According to him, he's saying that this shows the real opposition party, and that Nigeria can clearly distinguish between the real opposition party and and the fake opposition, according to him. What do you make of that statement? And then he talked about the fact that, I'm trying to read him verbatim, I don't want to actually quote or paraphrase. He said, the election has further exposed the hypocrisy of people who go about buying corn and granules from roadside sellers for the purpose of a campaign just to deceive Nigerians. And then he went on to
It also exposes people who drink happiness drug and 40 years whiskey. And that's both that's on the street and in the house. Understand me? The election also shows people who drink happiness drug, just who fake happiness, while in their mind they are bitter, they are shedding tears. Okay. So who are the fake opposition? Who are the real opposition? No, I want to know.
You're asking me?
Because I don't read his statements.
You don't read his statements?
I don't read his statements.
So I'm sure what he's referring to, I'm sure he's referring to PDP as the real opposition and ADC as the fake opposition. But let's go to our virtual guest. Glad to have you join us, Honorable Clem.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. So, Clem, I want to know how you feel about, what you think, rather, about the election on Saturday as FCT polls. How would you judge that election? Would you actually say, what would you say, would you say it turned out well?
Well, the election has come and gone, and in actual fact, it didn't live up to the expectation of many Nigerians, including myself, in the sense that the election was marred by voter apathy. And also the fact that INEC was unable in the federal capital to transmit the result of the election in real time is also something that calls into question what are the investment that we have made in ICT, in electronic voter transmission. Why is it that INEC under Amopitan is unable to improve from where Yakubu stopped? These are questions. And also we have these issues of that have been circulating about mutilated results sheets that is all over the place, where you have somebody, a particular political party, having more votes than even a registered number of voters in the area. I mean, that's shameful that up to now in Nigeria, we're having a situation where we have somebody saying, go and vote and leave the rest for me. Maybe the rest that have been left for him is mutilating the results and also ensuring that voting was suppressed in so many areas. It shouldn't be so. People should be enthusiastic to go out there and vote. And this is a lesson. I mean, if we can, this is a kind of a forerunner to what 2027 may be all about. I think the opposition political parties are yet to get their grip on how to be an opposition and how to contest election in the Nigerian way. Because right now, it appears that the ruling APC, no matter whatever you talk about them, seems more hungry, more desperate, more resolved to win every election. And they begin to wonder if the people that are voting in these elections are actually the Nigerians that are complaining about suffering. Because elections are supposed to be a referendum on the activities of the government of the day to justify their existence and their continued existence. And if I take what has been happening in most by-elections across the country going on, you begin to wonder whether the Nigerians of today are worth fighting for and whether they are worth dying for. And how serious are they for a change? Because when it comes to election, you find them actually voting for the party they are disagreeing with. And it becomes a question, is it because voters are induced or because they are ignorant or what? But I think more should be done to sensitize voters by the opposition party. For example, in ADC, Peter Obi got into the race a little bit late in the day. And I didn't see the input of Atiku Abubakar and Rotimi Amaechi in trying to mobilize votes for the FCT, knowing how important that FCT election is. It's a kind of signal that we are on ground. We used to win this place before, and now you lost it completely. And so far, what will I say? I don't have a dog in the fight, but I just wish that democracy in Nigeria should be allowed to flourish, where people can vote freely, and we don't have these issues of voter apathy. We don't have these issues of lack of transmission and mutilated results and overvoting. It's shameful that we're still talking about something like that in this very age and century, and there are 4 places in FCT capital.
Okay, and let's look at INEC. How would you actually rate their handling of the election? Would you say that they did enough to ensure that, to prevent irregularities in that particular election?
I don't think that INEC did enough to prevent irregularities. Rather, they added irregularities in some places where we found irregularities. INEC didn't appear to be neutral because INEC is the one who had mutilated results transmitted into their portal. INEC is the one who recorded overvoting more than the accredited voters, more than registered voters. INEC has not improved. INEC is going worse than it was. INEC was the one who was not able in the federal capital to transmit results in real life. Let me tell you something. In Anambra State, November 8th, we had an election, governorship election, in 21 local governments, in 176 communities. And the results were transmitted in real life time. By 8 o'clock in the evening, we already know the result of the elections. That's the essence of this electronic transmission of voters, of voting. INEC was not able to do that in the federal capital. Will they say that they have no network also in Abuja? That is totally unacceptable. They cannot say that. So INEC did not do what they are supposed to do. We have INEC issuing instructions, and FCT minister issuing a different instruction that we are conflicting, imposing curfew, no movement. It's not his job to do that. And INEC should be the one regulating the election. INEC should say who goes out and who doesn't go out, when you go out and when you doesn't go out. It is not the work of the FCT minister to start issuing such orders and instructions. It is contrary, because he has an interest in the election. When there was an election in Anambra State, it wasn't the governor of Anambra State saying there will be no movement. There's no role to play there. It's INEC rule that determines what happens and what doesn't happen. It is their election. So personally, I will not score INEC any high. INEC is a complete disappointment in the election that was conducted in the FCT and in River State. That I can tell you. I'm not impressed by them at all.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let me come back to this. Dr. Musike, you know, one of the things that we have
Are you still there with me?
Yes, okay, I said I was going to come back to you. Thank you very much for your views. I'll come back to you, sir. I didn't know that you didn't hear me. So let me hear from Dr. Anosike and I'll come back to you.
Okay.
So you know one thing that I've mad our elections over time is vote buying. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where money or vote buying
It depends on the discipline of the people. That's their for the change. Because if you want a change and somebody offer you money, you accept. It means you are not really for that change. And change always comes from below, not from above. Above always want the status quo to remain because it favors them. They are benefiting from it. So there will always be money that's in politics everywhere, even in the United States. Money plays a very important part. Even somebody said that politics is not for the poor. Why? Because money is involved. So those who offer money will keep on offering money. Understand? And who are the people that offers money? It is the ruling party. Understand me? Because they are the custodian of our taxes and rates and the revenues being generated from our soil. So they are usually the party that offers money. After offering that money, they will take it back tenfold through taxes, inflation, and so on and so forth. So, and you don't depend on captured institutions to enforce anything. Like I told you, our judiciary has been captured. Our security agencies has been captured. INEC has been captured. So shouldn't expect police to enforce vote buying. Mind you, the National Assembly rejected it because they know that 90% of them know that if there's a free fair election, they will not come back because they have not delivered on their campaign promises. So if you don't deliver, you know that the people would appraise you and poorly. They will not want to vote for you. So the only way you can come back is to use that's inducing instruments like money and so on and so forth. So I don't see it coming to an end because we don't have even institutions that can enforce laws in the country.
You know, one of the things they mentioned, and we actually saw some mutilated from EC8, and you know, that is what one of the things that Nigerians, those people who went to, Nigerians stood or wanted or tried to stand against when they said they wanted transmission of results real time.
Which party mutilated it?
You're asking me, Dr. Anosike. Which party mutilated it?
It's APC now.
Definitely, we saw it from what we saw. But
that's the only way they can win an election.
But what does this say about what Nigerians actually want, which is the real-time
That's why they are against real-time transmission. That's why they are against real-time transmission, to enable them falsify order from EC8. That's why Akpabio said that National Grid might collapse on the election day, that there are 9 states that don't have a network in the country, which the telecom companies came and said that it is not true, that they have capacity for real-time transmission of results. So they are playing this hide and seek because they have failed the people.
Okay, let's go back to our virtual guest. Clem, you know, you talked about the mutilated from EC8, and we saw it online. But do you think that looking at this, and if this is taken to court, do you think it would actually be used in support of the opposition and then against the APC that won that some of those councils? Do you think?
Wait, which court are you going?
Judiciary.
Yes, or Wike court.
Let me allow our guest to answer the question, please. You can go ahead and respond.
Well, I think he has virtually given you insights by asking you which court are you going to. One of the first institutions of government that was captured by the executive is the judiciary. The judiciary in Nigeria is nothing to write home about as we speak. They are acting on the dictate of the government of the day. They are not independent in the judiciary in Nigeria. Of course, the mutilated result is a grant for petitioning. It's a grant for contesting the validity of the election to say, look, there's no way you can accept a result that is so badly mutilated that the voting recorded for a particular political party runs in thousands against the number of registered voters in that area, runs in thousands against a number of accredited voters. But don't be surprised. You take that same thing to court, show them everything. The court sees everything, and yet they will tell you, oh, there was substantial compliance. And the court will tell you, oh, we are upholding the results. It's not sufficient for you to uphold the result. You see, the judiciary in Nigeria is not helping Nigeria. The judiciary in Nigeria, fortunately, when this democracy crumbles, because of also the antics of the judiciary, one of the arms of government that gets saved, that doesn't crumble, is the judiciary. How I wish when they pull down this house, they pull this house down with the judiciary too in Nigeria. Because the judiciary is one of the major problems that have made democracy impossible in Nigeria. Judiciary has become a place you now go and wait for evil to be upheld as right in Nigeria. And that is totally bad. Judiciary is supposed to be the conscience of the nation, supposed to be the last hope of the common man. But the judiciary in Nigeria has become a catch and carry, part of the executives, acting on executive whims. The executive writing the judgment for judges to deliver. We should try our best in this country to ensure that we lessen the corruption in appointment of judges, because the appointment of judges is what gives leeway for all these corruptions. When people are appointed judges based on political consideration, based on the amount of bags of money somebody brought to favor them to be appointed, they no longer act on their conscience. We have to review the way and manner we are appointing judges in this country. Let us at least have merits in the appointment of judges. These people are well paid, they are well educated, and yet they are the most corrupt group of Nigerians that have made life impossible for the common man, that you can no longer predict justice in Nigeria. You have a good case, you go to court, you lose the case. The judges will rule differently on a particular case the same day in a different way. Similar case is. Justice should be predictable. We should be able to say, if you do this and you do that, this is the result that you get. But it's not so anymore in Nigeria. You can bring all the mutilated results and prove that this party did not actually score this number of votes. Judiciary will tell you, we uphold the result. And life goes on. That is Nigeria today for you. And it's too bad we are like that. We shouldn't continue this way. We should not. Judiciary should help save this country and save this democracy, because even a child in the nursery school have judicial system. We have corrupt judges. It's elementary knowledge all over the country. People know this even down to the villages, that the court no longer says the truth. Everybody in this country now knows it, that the courts are manipulated. Everybody now knows it, that the man or woman wearing the wig, sitting down as a judge in the court, asks for bribe and takes bribe to deliver justice and judgment. And people are sick and tired. of living life that way.
Okay,
They
let
want
me
to
let me
live
come in
according to the
here.
law.
Let me come in here. Let me come in here. You know, the Chief Justice of Nigeria would actually counter your statement because recently she said that people should stop using a blanket statement for the judges and saying they are corrupt. She said that some judges are still very, very much are not corrupt. Some of them are not corrupt. There are some judges who are not corrupt. They still have Nigeria still has some judges who have integrity. That's according to the Chief Justice of Nigeria. But I want to ask you this before we move on. You know, one of the things that Atiku Abubakar, in reaction to this FCT polls, he said that the President Bola Tinubu-led administration is shrinking democratic space, and he talked about how it looks like democracy rather is beginning to die in this administration. Would you actually align with that statement?
Well, the best way to kill democracy is to use democracy to kill democracy. You are a Nigerian, and you see that the democratic space is shrinking. You see the harassment of the opposition parties. You see the trouble being caused in the opposition parties by people serving in this administration. For example, you see the confusion and the problem where the FCT minister has his leg in one political party and has another leg in the opposition party and causing crisis there. Is that normal? Does that happen anywhere in the world? And he's not even ashamed about it. He even boasts about it. He even boasts about it. That he's controlling what happens in the ruling party and controlling what happens in the opposition party. Is that country normal? Is this normal politician that is saying this and doing this? And is doing this at the backing of the president? This very government is destroying democracy. That is not how democracy should be. The harassment of the opposition members, the way they are being arrested, put into prison, charges leveled against them, to intimidate them, is not good enough for democracy. After doing that during election season, it's not good for democracy to target the opposition in that manner. I'm not taking excuses for anybody who is involved in corruption or in any wrongdoing, but there should not be selective targeting of people who have done wrong. Let us see this targeting spread across both the ruling party and the opposition party. The perceptions Nigerians are having is very important. You ask yourself, why is it that in FCT of all places, where we have very obedient and civilized Nigerians who knows their left and their right, we only could record less than 10% of registered voters to come and vote on an election that is important to them? Because the municipal election, the local government election in FCT is the election that matters. Because that will take care of me and you that lives in the FCT. That's the government that we know. We are supposed to have active participation, and you are having less than 10% of registered voters. In the polling units of the ADC member that were contesting for chairman for AMAC, only 10 people voted in that polling unit. And I think the gentleman scored about 5 and APC 3. And you are running for chairman. So you couldn't even turn out the number of voters in your polling unit. That shows that people are not interested, that there should be reason why they're not interested. Is it because their vote doesn't count? Is it because they are tired of being Nigerians? Is it because they are frustrated by the system? Is it because they don't care anymore? We must have to ask ourselves questions. Why are things happening the way it is happening now, please, in our democratic space? Why is it that people did not come out to vote? This is a subject of research. We must have to find an answer to this. Because while we cannot levy compulsion on people to come and vote, but we want to see at least active voter participation to determine who rule us, who govern our space, and who determine our future. The people have lost faith and lost interest. And when they lost interest in the way they have lost interest in this our democracy, it's not for anybody's, it's not in anybody's interest. It's not in their national interest. People should be involved. And whatever we have done to them to make them not involved, made them too careless, I think it's time I think it has become time that we begin to make amends, to reimpose confidence in the people, to re-emphasize the trust in the system that will make people to understand that your vote counts. Because right now, many people believe that their vote doesn't count. When you look at the mutilated results that have been trending all over the internet, you know that your vote doesn't count. How do 300 people vote and one party, a particular political party recorded 1,217 to themselves? Meanwhile, the 300 people that voted and the registered members in that area is less than 500. How you feel frustrated by the system? You go there out there to waste your time.
Okay, let's move on to our next conversation. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you. Let's move on to our next conversation. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria has expressed deep concern over what it describes as systemic challenges hindering national growth. During the first plenary meeting at the bishops cited a faulty electoral process, worsening insecurity, and rampant illegal mining as major threats to Nigeria's stability and development. The bishop stated that the process of electing political leaders in Nigeria has been undermined by gross irregularities, which has strongly affected the confidence of Nigerians in the electoral process and have led to the steady decline of voters' turnout during general elections. On insecurity, they urged the government to go beyond declaring a national emergency on security and reactive interventions, to invest more in modern technological equipment for surveillance and strengthen security. Dr. Nosike, let me come to you first. What's your take on these opinions by the Catholic bishops? You know, one of the things they talked about was gross, how our leaders are being elected. And they talked about, you know, this lack of confidence that Nigerians now have in the electoral process. What do you make of all this?
What the bishop said is just an appraisal of what happened in Abuja on Saturday. And also in agreement with what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said, that the democracy space are being is shrinking. Any child that studied social studies or government will tell you that what we are practicing in Nigeria is no more democracy. Because when an election is not free, fair, and credible, it is not the democracy. When there's no separation of powers, it is not the democracy. When your fundamental human rights are being impeached upon, there's no freedom of speech, there's no freedom of association, and security agencies are breathing on your neck. Understand? Especially if you are not politically correct. That's when you are not supporting the government of the day. It is not a democracy. When there's no development, because another name for democracy is development. Once democracy is fully practiced, once there's free expression, understand me, that's of yourself, there's bound to be development. But all these things are not happening. So on the issue of insecurity, we don't need any soothsayer, we don't need any bishop, any prophet to tell us that the Tinubu's government has no capacity to handle security in the country. They don't have capacity to handle economy. They don't have capacity to handle security. And these are the two major determinants of who wins election everywhere in the world. Economy, security. Security is about protection of lives and properties. Economy is the welfare of the people. These are the two things that determines whether a government should remain or pushed aside. And Tinubu has failed woefully on this too. So the only way they can win an election in this country is what you see on that Form EC8.
Okay, let me come back to you, Clem. You know, we've seen religious leaders come out, this Catholic bishop, they had come out to say what they've said. But do you think religious leaders in Nigeria are actually doing enough in terms of shaping national policy?
Well, the religious leaders remain the conscience of the nation. Whether they are part of the problem is still the fact that they are part of Nigeria. Are they doing enough? Maybe in their own way they are doing enough, but they are not politicians. The people that we have elected into the political space have also found a way of compromising the churches in the local areas. But the fact that they could come together and identify problems is also a signpost that they are still, they understand the issues and they are pointing it out. It's now left for the politicians that we elected to actually look into those areas, especially the areas of insecurity that have bedeviled the country, which I can tell you for free that insecurity in Nigeria is man-made. It didn't fall from heaven. It is manufactured by the politicians. It is manufactured by the people who are aiding it. All parts of Nigeria that you find that there are killings and banditry and terrorism are all man-made. They're all manufactured by the people. It was manufactured by a particular political party to win an election that they eventually won. And they have sustained that insecurity as a way of staying back in power until they stop. And it's only them that can stop. The pastors can preach and do their sermon and collect their offering, while the problem in Nigeria continues. When they talk about the way we are recruiting our leaders through false and wrong political process, where voting doesn't count, leading to voter apathy, these are problems, because I don't know how somebody who stole a mandate will actually provide good governance. It's almost practically impossible, because the people did not elect you. You usurp the power, you bought the votes, and you become their leader. There's no way you can provide good governance when you lack integrity. If you look at almost every election, most people in government are people who are lacking in integrity. And if you don't have integrity, how can you be responsible and provide a responsible leadership? It is nearly impossible. So the things the Catholic bishops have said, we all know this, but we don't even need them to say that. But I'm glad also that they said that. It's all left for us to determine the kind of country we want. Do we want responsible leaders? If we want responsible leaders, we should be able to hunt for talent. Talent shouldn't disqualify. That should be a reward. Integrity shouldn't disqualify. It should rather...
Can conclude your thoughts before we move on, because we're out of time already.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that I'm in alignment with what the Catholic bishop have said. The observation that I have made, we all know about this observation. They're only repeating what all of us know. But the question is, how do we get out of the wood? How do we solve this problem? How do we get out of this we find ourselves? Because they said, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. When we in Nigeria, stop digging, because we're already inside a deep hole.
Okay, thank you very much, Clem Agui. Thank you so much for being a part of the issues all the way from Mocha. And thank you very much, Dr. Nosike, for being a part of the issues. That's all we have for today's episode of The Issues. We explored the challenges facing Nigeria's politics and governance. Thank you for being a part of it. Don't forget to tune in next time for more in-depth analysis and discussion. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest news and insight. Until next time, stay informed. I am Nenna Ndomdioto. This has been The Issues on Voice of the People Television, where the future faces forward. Please don't forget to stay tuned for Hashtag with Vivian by 8 p.m. Don't go away.
Extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Day, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the Locker Room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please the sport.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy, Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us. Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging 1-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chiki Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello peeps, my name is Yomi E. Adejimo.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Benjamin and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, are you looking for good entertainment? You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you. And I want you.
And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV.
So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I won't want you actually. I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that die because VOP is the plot.
Obudu Mountain Resort, formerly known as the Obudu Cattle Ranch, is a ranch and resort on the Obudu Plateau in Cross River State, Nigeria. It was developed in 1951 by M. Macaulay. Macaulay, a Scottish who first explored the mountain ranges. In 1949, he camped on the mountaintop of the Oshia Ridge on Sankwala Mountains for a month before returning with Mr. Hugh Jones, a fellow rancher, in 1951, and Dr. Crefeld. Together, they developed the Obudu Cattle Ranch. Since 2005, a cable car climbing 870 meters from the base to the top of the plateau gave visitors a scenic view while bypassing the extremely winding road to the top. The resort is found on the Obudu Plateau, close to the Cameroon border in the northeastern part of Cross River State, approximately 110 kilometers east of the town of Ogoja and 65 kilometers from the town of Obudu in Obanluku local government area of Cross River State. It's about 30 minutes drive from Obudu town and also about 332 kilometers drive from Calabar, the Cross River State capital. Charter air service is available to the Bebi Airport, which lies between the village of Obudu and the resort. However, the airstrip is no longer functioning and the cable car has been grounded for a while now due to lack of maintenance. In 2020, it was reported that the governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade, pledged to revive the cable car after successfully test running it for the Christmas period. Since then, life has returned to the ranch. The climate of the Obudu Cattle Ranch is semi-temperate mountain climate, which is the general weather condition experienced on the Obudu Plateau. Due to its 1,600 meters elevation, the ranch has in recent times seen an influx of both Nigerian and international tourists because of the development of tourist facilities by Cross River State government, which has turned the ranch into a well-known holiday and tourist resort center in Nigeria. It has a serene climate compared to other regions in Nigeria.
Alright, hello, how are you? That's Shaggy, I'm fine back with Melanie Poppy Black Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know what you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weight.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers, whatever, live it. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Jenny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.